Hello everybody and welcome to the United Stand. I'm joined by Bruno Fernandes tonight because I want to be joined by him, and I'll tell you what, I'm like a kid at Christmas, to be honest with you. I can't sleep. Rio's gone to bed. He's tweeted out he's going to bed. He can't wait anymore, but very, very excited about what's going on with Manchester United, and to be honest with you, there is a lot to report because there are transfer news away from Bruno Fernandes as well as Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's embargoed comments, which I wanted to go live about anyway, so it all fits in quite nicely. But the latest with Bruno Fernandes is this, a couple of new bits of information for you. Simon Stone, the credible Manchester United journalist for BBC, Tier 1, which means very, very reliable. Welcome to Paul Monaghan, the latest member of the United Stand Members Club. He's actually been on BBC Radio 5 Live, so I've listened to his voice, so it's not just a tweet, we've listened to a voice, and he says this, that Manchester officials are in, Lisbon officials are in Manchester to discuss a deal for Bruno Fernandes, and this is from he's talking about a BBC colleague who has said this. But Simon Stone saying himself that two people he spoke to yesterday have confirmed that Manchester United are keen on signing Bruno Fernandes. And then when he spoke to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in the press conference this morning and asked him about whether he'd been at a game to watch Bruno Fernandes last Sunday, and Ole basically saying it's irrelevant where he's been, and Simon Stone saying, well, it was easily for him to deny that, so it was obvious he was at the game and that he is interested. And that's coming from Simon Stone, who is a Manchester United correspondent, who is a very, very high tier 1. Are you this naive to believe this bollocks, says Shady Abenaza? Well, look, quite frankly, no. I've already said that I won't believe it till he holds the shirt up. I am excited, but I've said that. Also, just an update from Drawty, who obviously in the summer was very accurate with Aaron Wan-Bissaka. He said when we were on air at 8 o'clock that he's been told that the deal is close. He's now saying that that person is saying that it probably won't happen till Monday because this is just negotiations with Sporting Lisbon, and that medicals and everything like that still need to be done, and obviously we're going into a weekend. So the official announcement, if this deal is going to be done, is probably not going to be until early next week, quite simply because this is negotiation with Sporting Lisbon, and Bruno Fernandes, who is very eager to get this deal done, hasn't actually flown into Manchester for any medicals or anything like that. And interestingly, I think Sporting Lisbon have a game this weekend, so it'll be interesting to see if Bruno Fernandes plays or if he does not play. But he has got to fly in and do medicals and everything like that. But I think that from a Manchester United point of view, and Rio Ferdinand has also confirmed on Twitter, somebody actually said to him, you clearly know something's going to happen, and he's tweeted, I honestly don't know whether anything's going to happen, I'm just as excited as anybody else. So I suppose in many ways, Turkish news, Illa United is saying that Bruno to deal will be done. It's interesting, isn't it, because I think you get that initial buzz, oh, it's going to happen, and then the realisation of Manchester United sort of seeps in a little bit. And it's not helped by Manchester Evening News, Samuel Luckhurst saying, doing an article saying that United have their long-term signings lined up for the summer and that they might look for something short-term, but there's a chance that no deals will be done. And also we've got Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's press conference comments that I'm going to go through in a minute. But what I would say about that is that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's press conference comments, although they've come out at 10:30 tonight, are from 10 o'clock this morning. So a lot has happened between them. We're now in the evening. So when Ollie's quotes are coming out tonight, I think people need to be really, really careful, because I can read you some of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's quotes. In fact, I'll read some of them now. These are coming out tonight because they're embargoed from this morning. But remember, they're from this morning. And all these Bruno stuff is happening tonight. So don't get your head messed up with that. The quotes from Ollie are coming out tonight, but he said it this morning. And a lot might have changed since then. And what Ollie has said on Woodward is, we've got an open discussion, and of course we're open and honest and we talk. But I wouldn't say to you what I say to him. I would never say I need this and that player out of the club to you. He said, we are building towards something, and I'm almost getting bored myself talking about this, and the fans will definitely be bored listening to me talk about what we have as a vision and a plan. But it doesn't change from September the 1st. Ollie said, ask Woodward if I'm forthright. I'm not going to protect myself. I'm going to do what is best for the club, what I think and we feel is right for the club, and I will never put myself before this club. Good. This is Manchester United, and there is no I in Manchester, and for me, there is no I in this team, and I could never ever do that. It would always be the worst thing you can do to put a short-term fix in if it's good for the group here and now. But you wouldn't put yourself in a situation where you've done something short-term that you regret in 18 months' time. We've got to do due diligence, character of players, quality of players. that are the right fit into this squad. I mean, look, he also says, I have those conversations with Ed all the time, and we are looking at how we are going to look in 1 month's time, 5 months' time, in the longer period. He knows my feelings, and we know our feelings. I am very happy with these players. And speaking about Jesse Lingard, he said that Jesse is working for Manchester United. Whoever he speaks to and gets his advice from is none of my business, and Jesse knows what we expect from him. I have a great open relationship with Jesse. We talk freely, so I don't speak to the agents of many players. So look, that's all from this morning. And look, things I think are moving on. I think if you were taking them quotes as now, you'd be thinking, shit, we're not signing anybody. And that's that. And you know, that does sound like that, I admit, but there's clearly stuff going on with Manchester United tonight. They're definitely talking to Sporting Lisbon. That doesn't mean we're going to definitely get the deal done, and as I said, if this wasn't Bruno Fernandes, I would be very confident, but this is something that it matters to me, it matters to a lot of fans. So until he's holding the shirt up, I just won't believe it, because we are in a situation where I believed we were in the summer and it fell apart. So of course it can fall apart again, but it sounds positive, but we've taken a lot of L's. We've taken a lot of bad things over the last few months, and it wouldn't be un-United-like for this to all fall apart. But I think that what makes me happy and what makes me feel excited, I'm not going to say confident, is that I woke up in last August, says Lee Gilbert. Well, what makes me feel excited is the fact that Simon Stone, who is credible and is based in England, is saying that these talks are happening. So that, to me, is what I cling on to. I don't cling on to the Portuguese reports. I mean, Portuguese reports, they could be true, but they've also been inaccurate in the past in relation to Fernandes and other players. But when it's coming from someone like Simon Stone, I think that is when I do kick in and think, you know, this is looking good. So it does look good. And I think from a United point as well, just to add a little bit of my own personal thoughts on this, because I want to get yours. That's how we got Sanchez. I like these words. Ollie in, says Duke Leon. What I like about this, if we get it done, is something that I've spoken about and a lot of you've spoken about on the United stand over the last few weeks, is we have an opportunity to get Champions League football. Let's not forget that. We have an opportunity to get Champions League football. Now, I don't know whether Bruno Fernandes can play in the Europa League. I know he played in the group stages for Sporting Lisbon, but I'm pretty sure that we bought Sanchez, who'd played in the Champions League, and then he played in the Europa League. I don't know whether if he played in the Europa League, he can't play in the knockout stage, or whether that resets itself. I don't know about that. But the Champions League is an opportunity for United to win the Europa League is the chance for United to win it and get in the Champions League. We also have an opportunity to get top four if we can kick on and start winning some games. It's going to be very, very difficult. But if you bring Bruno Fernandes in, you bring in a player that is going to straight away deliver goals and assists from that number 10 situation, which we desperately are not getting from Lingard, Mata and Pereira. And more goals means prizes, doesn't it? And I've always said this, and a lot of you have said it, that we are in January. It is a transfer window. It is legit. It is open, and you can sign anybody if you can get them. But more importantly, we can't just say, let's wait till the summer and next season. We're in the midst of a season. Next season's no better than this season. We're halfway through a season, and everything's on offer at the moment. Everything that we started this season with is on offer now. So it's the same as next season, because next season, everything that's on offer at the start of next season is on offer now, unless we get Champions League, which we're not in. So we could win the Carabao Cup, the FA Cup. The Carabao Cup's looking difficult. Top four's looking difficult. Everything's looking difficult the way we're playing. But if you're Manchester United, do you want 2 years out of the Europa League and transfer and sponsorship money dropping off? Or do you want to spend a bit of money now on a player that can get you those things? It's a no-brainer to me. And it surprises me that the club wouldn't do it. And especially money-motivated people like Woodward and the Glazers wouldn't do it, because we've got a chance for Champions League. It makes total sense to spend money now to get Champions League football. And I think Bruno Fernandes would be, if he's the only addition, is better than nothing, but it would be a great addition to Manchester United because it would deliver something that we desperately, desperately need. Goals and creativity. Is it a coincidence that after we get trashed from City with an abysmal performance, the board gives us a rumour that would satisfy most fans? Not sure, says Shady Abanaza. And Ginger Salmon says, how many other signings do you think we will make this window after Bruno if it happens? Also, do you think he'll start against City if it happens? Well, City's a long way off, so I think it will happen. I think if we signed him on Monday, he'd play on Wednesday against Wolves, but it depends how quick we can do it. Is Ed Woodward Facebook profile real? If it is, it's official, says Fred the Red. I don't know. And Cantona, the greatest number, says, and if we get Bruno, how easy would it be to get Neves? So let's hope if we pull this off, don't let it stop there, Mark. Thoughts, please, come on, says Cantona, the greatest number 7. Look, to be honest with you, I don't even believe that it's a fake profile on Facebook, by the way. I don't even believe we can get Bruno Fernandes until he's holding a shirt up. But there is other transfer news to talk about as well. But yeah, look, you know, I understand the trepidation, I understand the reservation, I understand the concerns, because I have them all as well. What I would say on this one is, and I said it before we did the 8 o'clock show, if United don't sign Bruno Fernandes, what I said last night and what many people have said recently about being really angry with Manchester United, it will double. It will double. Because when you've got credible outlets and credible people such as Simon Stone saying that we're in discussions with Sporting Lisbon for Bruno Fernandes, and then you don't sign Bruno Fernandes, that is very different to Portuguese reports that we're in for him. Because we had that last summer. But when you've got concrete discussions, which is what we're getting, and then you don't get him, that is a major fail. And I think if United fail with this, they can't afford to fail with this. Not just because of this, but because of everything else, because of the season, because of not buying midfielders in the summer, because we need midfielders now. If they fail with this, as well as failing with Haaland, then they won't recover from it. Doesn't mean they're going to sell the club, doesn't mean Woodward's going to get sacked or anything like that, but they will just fail. They just won't recover from this, because this is a calibre of player that doesn't come around that often. If you don't get Bruno now, you've still got half a season to go. It's all right saying we're going to get Maddison in the summer. You've got half a season to endure. I don't think Ollie survives it either. So we've got to get this deal done. Everything suggests we will get this deal done. But as I say, I'm with everybody else who's nervous and not believing it until the shirts hold up. But everything looks like it will. Mark, my father-in-law passed away tragically this week. Thank you in the United Stand for a brief of distraction. Bruno Fernandes is giving me hope, says 6782 Anthony. Commiserations with that. I always get the wording wrong with that, but you know what I mean. Very, very sad news. I hope you're doing okay, mate. That's real life, and I am sure everybody else in the live comments will be sending their thoughts to you and your family. So real. That's real, and this is football. But it is escapism as well. So I'm glad that it does that. But I hope everything. It will get better, because time's a great healer. But it's raw and it's not very nice. Frederick Larson, brother Cass, interesting. Lindelof as CDM. Mark. What I would say as well, I've got to talk to you about the latest transfer news as well. Sky Cave, who's the one in the summer who was basically talking about James and Wan-Bissaka and Maguire. He was the one who was breaking that through Sky. So quite reliable, or he was last summer. He's saying that there's definite interest in Raul Jimenez from Wolves and Moussa Dembele, but Lyon aren't going to let Dembele go in January, and it would be a very difficult deal to get Jimenez in January. I mean, bloody hell, imagine if we got... The interesting thing as well is with this, I forgot to say, and Imaragarat says, I bet if we sign Bruno, we will not replace Pogba and only sign a striker next summer, so net spend is close to zero. Woodward always wins in the end. That is a very relevant point. We'll have to keep an eye on that. A lot of people are saying that if we do buy Bruno and we did buy Jimenez, I bet it's just the money that we're going to get for Pogba. This could be the turning point we need, Mark. Signing Bruno will attract better players over the next few transfer windows, says Matt Rush. It could be a turning point. It could be a stopgap, papering over the cracks. We'll have to see. But I think we could all agree, if we get this guy, it's a fantastic signing. This is a prayer answered. Please, Ed, don't mess it up, says Yasser Said. But what I was going to say is, not only is this signing Bruno Fernandes with Sporting Lisbon, a lot of things last summer were aimed at Bruno Fernandes' agent, that he didn't have the quality or experience to deal with such a deal. And George Mendes is apparently involved in it this time. Now, George Mendes is apparently got a good relationship with Manchester United, but I've never seen this in recent years. He is the agent of David De Gea. He was the agent of Jose Mourinho. But the influx of George Mendes clients never happened after De Gea and Mourinho, really. And I expected it. Fabinho is a George Mendes client, went to Liverpool. So the interesting thing is, if we did bring Bruno Fernandes in and we do use George Mendes, it follows that Jimenez and Neves, who are his clients as well, as I understand, but certainly Ruben Neves is, that they could follow. And he is heavily involved with Wolves. So that's quite interesting. I'd be interested to see what happens with that. Hugh012, welcome to the United Stand Members Club. I do have to keep checking my phone just to make sure that nothing else is happening while we're live. But also, the Standard and ESPN, so two outlets tonight, Evening Standard and ESPN, are both saying that as well as Bruno Fernandes, Manchester United would be very interested in Donny van de Beek, which is something we'd spoken about a couple of days ago. Now, whether that's for the summer or whether that's for now, that's rather interesting as well. And he's certainly a player that that I would like Manchester United to be signing, and I'm sure many of you would be as well. So there's a lot going around Manchester United at the moment. But what we need to do, and what we need to be very careful of, is that to remember that if we didn't have this absolute concrete story around Bruno Fernandes, it would actually be quite normal for us to have a situation where we are being linked to Van der Beek and Jimenez and everybody else. So we must be careful in relation to taking those stories and chucking those stories into the same scenario as a Bruno Fernandes, which appears to be very, very true. Do you think Lingard will go the other way, Mark? Says Callum Sharif, aka Glory to Aberdeen. I don't know who it is that is probably going to go the other way as part of this Bruno Fernandes deal if it happens. And Adriax says, I've heard from a source it's 45 million plus Rojo, some people. But no, that's something that got me into a bit of trouble earlier, because some accounts I actually quite thought I was talking about them when I said that earlier on tonight I put a tweet out on the United Stand Twitter, which I don't use that often, but I've just put it out and I said, United 40 million for Bruno Fernandes plus Rojo. And then I started seeing a few accounts saying that they'd been told that, but that was just a prediction by me. But then I've also heard from an outlet, I think it was The Athletic, that Rojo won't be part of the deal. So Rojo would be logical because we got him from Sporting Lisbon and he wants a move. But I don't know whether Rojo wants to go back to Portugal. He might fancy a better league than that. The one I quite like the sound of, and it's only a theory, I said it before, I'd quite like Angel Gomez to go to Sporting Lisbon. I'd like him to, because he's very young still. He plays in the same position as Bruno Fernandes. I would like Angel Gomez to go to Sporting Lisbon with us having a buyback clause, because he'd go there and play straight away. And, if he tears it up, you bring him back in a year or two. So I'd quite like to see that happen. My birthday was on Monday, so fingers crossed, says Palmeiras. Yes, so basically what's looking like the situation. Harvard, Clivane, welcome to the United Stand Members Club. Thank you very much. You can join by clicking the join button. Ad Breezy says, has it been confirmed? It's not been confirmed. We're just giving you the latest. And the developments from the 8 o'clock show are that Simon Stone has verbally confirmed that United are clearly in for Bruno Fernandes and talking to Sporting Lisbon. That Rio Ferdinand has confirmed on Twitter that he doesn't have any information on it. He's just excited. Lots of other outlets talking about it. We've had Ollie's press conference comments coming out from this morning, which were embargoed, which sound a little bit like it might not happen. Not specifically to Bruno, but talking about the long term again. But you've got to remember there's a big gap between 10:30 in the morning and now, so I wouldn't take that with any great weight. With regards to when this deal could be announced, I don't think we were ever going to be that quick. And I think we were getting a little bit premature earlier, weren't we? Thinking, oh, this is so quick. It's so quick. We're going to announce a deal. We're going to do what Liverpool did with Fabinho. 8 o'clock, we're interested. 9 o'clock, it's done. I don't think United can change how quick they do deals overnight. I'll be happy if it's looking done tonight, announced on Monday. That's still 3 days instead of 4 weeks. So we're going to have to move quicker. The theory is, and what Draughty was telling me from the person who speaks to him, who told him about the Wan-Bissaka deal, is that it won't happen probably till Monday because Bruno Fernandes has got to fly in and have medicals before it's done. But having said that, Manchester United have announced deals before the medicals have been done. I think with Dan James we did it, and I think with Wan-Bissaka did it. We announced a deal pending a medical, so we could do that. Join late, what's the latest on Bruno, says Fuzzaden Fernez. Well, you've just got it there. And Mark, please shout out my mate Hassan Badat. Keep it up, says Vikram Jaku. There's a shout out for Hassan Badat. Live Spurs tomorrow, and all be talking about is United, says Yasser Said. Yeah, well, I was planning on doing a watch along for that one tomorrow, but we'll see how it goes. Next season, McSauce, Bruno, Maddison in midfield, says Dazu W. The Red Devil, will Ollie survive this season if we get Fernandes? Look, the issue with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is that with regards to his future as a Manchester United manager, I think if he lost to Norwich tomorrow, I would say he's gone. But signing Bruno Fernandes in many ways, will absolutely paper over everything that's gone before this season. Whether that's right or wrong, I have to sit here and tell you the truth. If Norwich beat us or draw with us tomorrow, but we're going to sign Bruno Fernandes on Monday, they ain't going to sack Ole Gunnar Solskjaer when they probably should, based on results. If we lose to Norwich tomorrow, bottom of the league at home, he probably should get the sack. But because we know this Bruno Fernandes deal is coming, he ain't going to get the sack, is he? Because it's all going to be about the future. So it's a double-edged sword. I mean, a lot of people are Ollie out because they don't think he's good enough, and we mustn't forget that his tactics on Wednesday or Tuesday night were abysmal. But even I fall into the trap. I said it this morning. If he signs Bruno Fernandes, I'll give him another year, because this signing is the signing that we needed in the summer. So it's almost like we've got to reset and forget the last few months, because now we've got the player that we should have got in the summer. It's odd, but not everyone has to think like that. As far as I'm concerned, when we get Bruno Fernandes, it is a reset button, because we should have signed him in the summer, and I want to see what he can do. And I also want to see, with a creator and a goal scorer, will Ollie be less defensive? So it is a reset button. I agree with the people who say that's not right, he's not good enough, and if he loses a couple of games like Liverpool, he should be gone. But I think, if I'm honest, for me, this signing is so significantly good if it happens that I would just go, well, look, let's give him till the summer. Let's see if there's any improvement. He's a lucky guy. He's had way more time and way more lives, if you want to speak, and patience than any other manager. And bloody hell, I mean, I bet Mourinho sat there tonight thinking, I got sacked for less than this, and they're about to give him bloody 60 million in Bruno Fernandes. So he's definitely had the backing, and he's definitely had the patience. Do you think Ollie will get the sack still if we lose to Norwich but buy Fernandes, says Jack Game? Well, I've just answered that prematurely. And Fred the Red says, can Matic play centre defence, and will you ever forgive the football universe if your Fernandes submarine runs out of fuel and sinks yet again? If this doesn't happen, Fred the Red, I tweeted this already. If this doesn't happen, I will be devastated beyond belief and rant worse than I've ever ranted, even though I don't believe it's going to happen until he holds the shirt up. But there's too much credible stuff out there. This is a credible line. So if it falls through, it falls through because we won't play the price, or we've messed up again. So if they mess this up again, I'll be absolutely disgusted by it, to be honest with you. But look, I think tomorrow, it's probably there probably will be some news tomorrow. I'm not going to pretend that there won't be some news tomorrow, but obviously we've got a match tomorrow, and I think that in relation to the match, I think we'll win tomorrow anyway, but the most interesting thing for me tomorrow is going to be what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is asked in the press conference, because if you think about it, I think it'll be a routine win for Manchester United, and then it will be press conference Ole after the game, what's happening with Bruno Fernandes, and he will probably say, I don't talk about players from other clubs. But let's not forget, I think that what happens is Bruno Fernandes going to be part of the squad tomorrow? And for Sporting Lisbon, or this weekend, whenever they're playing. I need to check that out. But I'd love to know, if anybody does know, if anyone's done the homework on this is a chance for a shout out. If we sign Bruno Fernandes, is he cup tied for the Europa League, considering he played in the Europa League group stage, or does it reset over? Remember, we signed Sanchez. He'd been in the Champions League for Arsenal till Christmas, and then he could play in the Europa League in the second half. But I don't know how it works if you played in the same tournament. Held out on a name on my shirt this summer, waiting for Bruno, watching every second of your shows. It's still blank, but maybe not for much longer, says Rob Wood. And Joel Morris says, United should go get Kalidou Koulibaly as well as Bruno Fernandes, but knowing how slow United are at transfers, it will be a miracle if United do more than one deal. Well, Joel, there was some stories today about Koulibaly to Manchester United. So Raju says the rule was changed this season, so he might be able to play. But oh no, he says he's not able to play. But the Kalidou Koulibaly thing, I think that's just paper talk. He can't play for United in the Europa, says Jack Loon, which is what I sort of expected, to be honest with you. And MK 2010 says there's more chance of the Titanic rising. I can't see Koulibaly happening. Yeah, Napoli will want 80 million, and we've just bought Harry Maguire. We've got Twansibi, we've got Lindelof. I don't see us signing another centre-back. And to be honest with you, centre-back's not the priority. We need 2 midfielders, a right winger and a striker. They're the 4 positions I think we need to do. I still won't be Ollie in because we should have done this in the summer, not now. And how much is the rumoured price, says Jack Marsden. And Who says, have to be careful. If you find French League, Farmers League, the Portugal is a Benfica, is a benefits league. I'm a big gambler. I know what it's like there. He is decent, but he struggled in Italy. Could take a while to acclimatise, says Humi. Well, look, Humi, I'm willing to stake my reputation on this that it'll be a fantastic signing. I don't think it will take long for him to adjust either. I think he'll hit the ground running and he'll score goals straight away. That might be a little bit unfair, but I think, and also if it happens, of course, but I think he'll be a success. I've said for a long time that this is the signing that I want. I've seen people that I respect say I'd rather get Maddison and Grealish. I totally disagree. I think he's the dream signing in that position. I think he's going to be a revelation. He's older than Grealish and he's older than Maddison. He's 25. He's exactly what we need. He's been captaining Sporting Lisbon. He's got a leadership personality. He's got experience. He's exactly what United need. United need 2 or 3 25-year-olds. I'd love us to have got Bruno Fernandes and Emre Can, because forget January transfer window. I think that would have been a brilliant summer transfer window. And that's what we're dealing with here. Oh, January transfer window is really hard to do deals. It's not hard. This deal we're about to do with Bruno Fernandes, if we do it, this would be that would have been our signing of the... If we'd signed Bruno Fernandes last summer, it would have been the signing of the summer. Forget Maguire, Wan-Bissaka, James. It would have been the signing of the summer. And we're about to do it in January. So it shows you can do business in January if you're aggressive and ruthless. So yeah, look, I think he's going to be a success. He might take time to acclimatise. Look, Fred's took a year, Lindelof's took a year. So look, if he starts slow, but I don't think he will. Are them odds correct, says Shah Rukh Khan. I haven't even looked at the odds for Bruno Fernandes to Manchester United, to be honest with you. TJ Jenkins has just subscribed from Spain. Thanks, pal. Make sure you do subscribe if you're new. Bottom right hand corner. We're getting very close to 620,000 subscribers, which is fantastic. What number will Bruno get? Don't care. Let's wait for him to hold the shirt up first. Players can represent 2 clubs in the Europa League and Champions League, but only a maximum of 1 player per club. So he's the only newbie we can register, says Bakid number 1, and that's a super chat. So it's looking good. It's looking good. It is looking good. As things are on it, I think, as I've said before, it's only because it's Bruno Fernandes and it's my favourite player that we can bring in that I can't say to you it's definitely going to happen, because I don't want to jinx it. I don't want to believe it until he's holding the shirt up, because I'm going to be so happy if it happens. But as I said, if I hadn't had the history with Bruno, I hadn't had what should have happened last summer with Bruno where it sunk, and this was just... let's pretend this was Donny van der Beek, right? And we've been linked to him, and now Simon Stone saying we're in talks with him. I would be sat here saying this is going to happen. So you can take that to the bank and wrap it up for Christmas. But I have to stay calm on this because I just worry. We're so... I said it to the wife when we was watching Made in Chelsea just then. Oh, I've let that out of the bag. I said to her, you know what, it's like Christmas. This is the player I want more than anything, and Manchester United are going to do it. I can't remember the last time we did a signing like this. It's like Vidal when we really wanted him all them years ago, or Schneider. It's like, this is the play. I think, with Pogba it was brilliant, but this is the first player, fan, this is the first, somebody said it to me earlier and they're spot on. It's like they're watching the United stand, because this is the first signing United have made in a long time that I can remember that is basically a fan request. It's a fan signing. It's a player the fans want, and that doesn't mean that they're buying it because the fans want it at all. That's not what I'm saying. But it's quite rare that there's a player where 90% of the fans are like, he'd be perfect for us. This is the player we need to get, and the club go and get them. We've had loads of players like this where we've said this would be perfect, and we don't get them. Like Fabinho was one of the recent ones. So it worries me, because it's like, this is what we want. This is what the fans want. And I can't believe it until he holds the shirt up. United need to register him until February the 3rd for Europa, says Animish. So it looking good. He looks like he can play in the Europa League if we sign him. How has this news not been leaked earlier? We're usually so bad at keeping transfers quiet. This has honestly shocked me. Lingard out and Bruno in, says Ryan FTW. Well, look, United have obviously acted very quickly. And just to go back to the most credible bit across all of this show, this is an interview that Simon Stone did with BBC Radio Live. He's a BBC journalist. He's tier 1. He's very close to Manchester United. And he's normally very quick to dismiss something if it's not going to happen. And he has said he was told yesterday by 2 people that Manchester United are very keen on Bruno Fernandes. He's also quoted one of his colleagues saying that Manchester United and Sporting Lisbon officials are meeting right now. And he's also said that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was clearly watching Bruno Fernandes last week and is clearly interested in him because he could have easily denied it. And that is the thing to pin your hopes on. That is credible information from a credible journalist. And that is why this is clearly being negotiated and clearly very, very close. And that is the one thing that you need to take from it. I'm really excited whether it is real or not, says Orlando. Excitement, absolutely spot on. Absolutely spot on to be excited. We'll just have to wait and see. Anyway, I think we should all get to bed unless you live in a different part of the world. But I'm definitely going to get some. Could Romero be part of the deal? Didn't travel, says Custom Clips. Where's he travelling to? We're in Manchester. Please subscribe to the channel if you're new, bottom right hand corner. Make sure you smash a like on the video. We're live tomorrow from 2 o'clock with the team news and the watch along. But of course, after the game is going to be very interesting in relation to what Ollie's got to say. And also, there might be something in the morning when we wake up. I think what's going to happen is tomorrow's going to be all about the game for United. Sunday, negotiations will pick up again. And maybe Monday, we'll get an official announcement if it's going to happen. Fingers crossed. And maybe go straight into the squad for Wolves. We'll see. We'll see. Look, thanks everyone for watching. I'm as excited as you. That's why we've done the show and all the updates. Ollie said, don't expect much this transfer window, says Jose Free. I know, I agree. We talked about that this morning. He has said that. I agree. But you can't deny what is coming out tonight. Why do you think the club are going through with this deal now? Do you think there's a catch, says Danielle. We'll find out in all due time. This deal, though, to end on a positive, if the club do it, I applaud the club. Doesn't mean they're not papering over the clacks. Doesn't mean it's short-termism. Doesn't mean it's all a cover-up to keep Ollie in the job. All those things could be true. But I can't move away from the fact that even if all those things are true, this is the right signing that they should be making. Thanks for watching. I'll speak to you all tomorrow.